Hey there, friends. My name is Kim, Commander Kim Mitchell, retired. You can call me Kim, or you can call me Chief. Yeah, that's what most folks around me like to call me. I'm 60 years old now, and I spent 23 years of my life in the United States Navy. Saw a lot of the world from the deck of a ship, met people from every corner of this earth, and learned more than any classroom could have taught me. Now I'm retired, sitting here in my study with a cup of coffee that's gone cold while I've been thinking, and I figured I'd start sharing some of these thoughts with you. Not sure if anyone's listening, really. This might just be an old sailor talking to myself, sorting through the memories and the lessons, trying to make sense of it all before my time's up. But if someone out there finds something useful in these ramblings, well, that'd make me pretty happy. I'm not a philosopher. Never claimed to be. I'm just someone who's been around the block a few times, seen some things, made plenty of mistakes, and come out the other side with a few stories to tell. So if you've got a few minutes, pull up a chair. Let's talk about what this whole life thing means. And hey, if you're out there listening, I'd love to hear from you too. Love to make some new friends, even at my age. Especially at my age. Alright then, let's get started. I used to think meaning came from medals, from the way sunlight hit the brass on my uniform, when the ship rolled steady and the flag caught the wind just right. I thought it lived in the sharp salute, in the silence before a storm, in the heavy hum of the engines beneath the deck, a rhythm so deep it became part of my bones. But years have a way of sanding down the noise. They leave you sitting on a porch somewhere, watching the same sun fall into a different sea, and you start to wonder what really stays. 900 years ago. No, that number means nothing now. But if you had planted an oak when the first Crusaders left home, it might still be standing today. Roots tangled around the bones of forgotten farmers, leaves whispering above a field no one remembers by name. Time turns men to dust, but trees keep their watch, counting centuries in rings, never asking what it means to endure. I used to read about kings and conquerors, Romans and emperors, their marble faces carved with eternal pride. The history books made them gods. But now, when I think of history, I don't see the crowns or the banners. I see a fisherman in Sicily, mending his net as the sun sets over an indifferent sea. I see a woman in Kansas, folding laundry by the radio, half listening to the news of another war. That, I think, is where history really breathes, in the quiet, unremarkable moments that never make it into anyone's archives. When you live long enough, you start to see that everything you thought would last doesn't. The great cathedrals crumble, the statues lose their faces, even the songs you sang at sea fade into something you can't quite hum anymore. But maybe that's not tragedy. Maybe it's mercy, a soft hand reminding us to let go. They say time heals, but I think time doesn't heal, it erases. It erases the sharp edges, the loud regrets, the need to be someone larger than life. It leaves only the small, durable things, the sound of a kettle, the warmth of a hand that once held yours, the memory of laughter caught in salt air. I remember one night in the Pacific. The ship was anchored, the stars so many they looked like spilled sugar. A young man asked me what I thought the meaning of life was. I told him, half joking, "If you find it, write it down before the wind takes it." He laughed, but he never forgot it. Neither did I. We spend our years chasing permanence, in love, in work, in faith. But permanence is the lie that keeps us restless. Meaning isn't found in what stays. It's in the way we keep going, even when we know nothing truly does. When I left the Navy, the first morning felt wrong. No orders, no bells, no sea beneath my feet, no hum of machines reminding me who I was. Just a kitchen clock ticking, and a mug of coffee that went cold before I remembered to drink it. I sat there staring at the sunlight on the counter, and I realized how much of my life had been noise. The kind that makes you feel important, but keeps you from hearing your own heartbeat. Meaning, I thought, must live somewhere quieter. Maybe in the patience of a carpenter sanding the same piece of wood until it shines. Maybe in a woman humming to herself while planting tomatoes in spring. Maybe in the way an old dog rests its head on your knee, without asking you to be anything more than you are. When I was younger, I believed in greatness. Now I believe in kindness. Greatness builds monuments. Kindness builds mornings worth waking up to. I've seen men die brave and men die foolish. I've seen storms take ships, and calm seas take minds. I've seen people spend decades searching for purpose, as if it were buried treasure, hidden just beyond their reach. But the truth is simpler, crueler, softer. There is no treasure, only the digging. Life is not a question we answer once. It's 1,000 small answers whispered to the wind. I once visited Normandy, not for ceremony, not for flags, just to walk. I stood where boys younger than I am now died, for an idea that feels both eternal and fragile. The grass was green, the sky absurdly blue. No music, no speeches, just silence, and the sea stretching like a memory that refuses to fade. In that moment, I understood something I'd missed for decades. We don't own the meaning of our lives. We borrow it, for a while, from those who came before, and those who will come after. When I was a child, my father told me, the world would remember the brave. Now I know the world remembers almost no one, but that doesn't make courage any smaller. It makes it sacred. I've learned that love, too, is not what they told us. It's not a promise or a vow carved into stone. It's the act of staying, again and again, even when the staying costs you something. It's the hand that steadies your shoulder in the dark, the voice that says, I'm here, even when there's nothing left to say. You see, we lose so much in this life. Friends, parents, the selves we used to be. We lose them slowly, then suddenly. But every loss teaches the same lesson: to hold lighter, to love gentler, to forgive faster. The years have thinned my hair, softened my knees, but they've also taught me this: the world doesn't need me to be strong. It just needs me to be awake. And sometimes, being awake is the hardest thing. To wake up and see that the things you built will one day fall apart, that the people you love will go, that even your name will fade from every tongue, and yet still, to rise, and make coffee, and open the window, and let the morning in. That, I think, is what it means to live. Some evenings I walk to the old church at the edge of town. It's small, the bricks sun-warmed and chipped, the bell a little cracked so it rings with a wobble, like a voice thick with tears. I like to sit in the last pew where shadows gather early and watch the dust float like patient galaxies in the late light. I don't go for doctrine. I go for the quiet, for the way the wooden floor sighs under the janitor's feet, for the way someone always forgets a scarf or a mitten and it waits there all week, waiting to be claimed. On the wall there's a painting of a shepherd no one remembers by name. His eyes follow you in that old painter's trick, but what matters to me is the lamb he carries. How the artist took a brush and made tenderness visible. I have stood there 30 minutes, just looking at the way that lamb's ear lies against the shepherd's sleeve. People call faith a fortress. For me it's a hand on a door, not forcing it open, not slamming it shut, just resting there, saying, "You can go in or out. I'll be here either way." When I was at sea, I kept a journal I never read again. Black ink on a grey notebook, salt bleeding the corners. I wrote about storms that never made the news. How a wave can climb the sky and turn noon to midnight. How fear has a taste, metallic like an old coin on the tongue. And how men sing at 2 in the morning, softly, to keep one another from falling apart. There's a page where I scrawled a single sentence. We are so small. The ocean doesn't even notice we exist. Having written it, I felt less afraid. As if saying it out loud made me part of the truth instead of its prey. On shore, the ocean is replaced by time. It roars less, but it is just as vast, just as indifferent. You can drown in a quiet office. You can drown in a marriage where no one remembers to laugh. You can drown in a house full of trophies that never once held your heart. So I learned new drills, not for fire or man overboard, but for the emergencies of ordinary days. When the mind goes dark at noon, when the anger arrives empty-handed and won't explain itself, when grief sits down and opens a suitcase and starts unpacking photographs you don't remember taking. The drill is simple. Breathe. Name 3 things you can see. Touch the table. Find a sound that proves the world isn't ending. A truck downshifting, a robin scolding the cat. Make tea. Clean a counter. If you have a friend, call him. If you don't, write a letter you will never send. Tell the truth in small sentences until your voice returns. There is a park near the river with a white oak that, if not as old as the cathedrals of Europe, is at least older than me by more than a century. Kids climb it, lovers carve initials, squirrels hold congress at dawn. Sometimes I lean against its trunk and press my cheek to the bark like a child listening for a heartbeat. You can hear the sap rising if you're quiet enough. Or maybe you just hear your own blood and decide the tree is singing back. Either way, the lesson is steady. Stand here. Endure. Trade speed for depth. We talk a lot about progress, as if it were a train that only moves forward. But what if progress is also learning to be still? What if the bravest thing is putting the gun down, the voice down, the certainty down? At 60, I find I'm no longer impressed by people who win arguments. I'm impressed by people who carry groceries for a neighbor without posting about it. I'm impressed by the man who apologizes first. By the woman who lets a silence live long enough to hatch into understanding. The young ask me for advice sometimes, as if there were a map that could skip them past the blind corners. I tell them what I wish someone had told me. Take care of your feet and your friendships. Both will carry you farther than you think. Learn how to cook 3 meals really well. You will feed others. You will feed yourself. You will know the taste of home anywhere on earth. Read a poem out loud once a week. Not because you understand it, but because your voice deserves to speak something beautiful. Keep a small box for letters you cannot throw away, and apologies you cannot yet make. And when it comes to love, ask less, is this forever? And more, can I be kind in this room, today? I have seen men worship flags so hard they forget the people the flags were meant to protect. I have seen the same thing with careers, churches, even families. Any banner can become an idol if you hold it high enough to block the sun. So I practice a different pledge now, mostly silent, mostly private. To notice. To notice the way my neighbor's porch light goes on at 5:17 every winter evening. To notice the shy bravery of the teenager at the checkout when she whispers thank you through chipped black nail polish. To notice that the veteran 2 doors down waters his roses with a tenderness that borders on prayer. To notice, and to let the noticing be enough. You ask what meaning is. Meaning is the weight of a sleeping grandchild on your chest while the baseball game murmurs on the TV. Meaning is the sentence you don't say because you know it would cut too deep. Meaning is carrying your friend's secret for 20 years and never once setting it down. Meaning is washing the dishes so the morning can begin clean. Meaning is showing up at a funeral with an old photograph and a thermos of coffee, and staying after everyone leaves to help stack the folding chairs. When my mother died, I thought the world would tilt. It didn't. The mail came. The dog needed walking. The sky was so blue it felt rude. At the service, a woman I didn't know told me how Mom once kept the diner open late on a snowy night so 3 stranded kids could sit in the warm and wait for a tow. I had never heard that story. It was like finding a new room in a house I'd lived in all my life. I cried not because she was gone, but because the room was beautiful and I had not known to visit. We are not, any of us, ever fully known. Maybe that's all right. Maybe the point isn't to be understood like a book you can finish, but to be encountered, page by page, chapter by chapter, by the people we meet and the days we are given. Some will dog-ear us. Some will put us back on the shelf. A few will carry us around until the spine breaks and the margins fill with notes. What more could a life ask? I used to plan 10 years at a time. Now I plan mornings, coffee, a walk, work I can touch with my hands, a fence that needs mending, a letter that needs writing, a porch step that needs paint. After that, if the day wants to bless me with more, I will take it. If not, I counted enough that I stood and looked at the sky and called it by name. I have a drawer of keepsakes I'm slowly giving away. Dog tags. A compass that points a little east of true. A coin a fisherman in Marseille pressed into my palm when the storm blew his boat home safe. When I hand them over, younger hands hesitate, unsure of the ceremony. I tell them there's no magic in the metal. The magic is in the stories we tell with it. Take this, I say. Keep it if it helps. Lose it if it doesn't. Either way, promise me you'll make something tender with your days. There's a county fair every August where I live. The Ferris wheel creaks. The lemonade is too sweet. The band keeps drifting a half beat behind the drummer. I go at dusk to watch the lights blink on one by one. Every year a child drops a prize goldfish and the plastic bag bursts and some teenager kneels in the dust, cupping the fish in both hands while his friends shout for a cup. A cup. Anybody have a cup? They always find one. The fish always swims. I stand there, one hand on the rail, thinking, this is the entire world, right here. Clumsy mercy, ridiculous hope, and the will to keep something small alive. I am asked sometimes what I regret. I used to keep a list and polish it like a bad habit. Now I keep a shorter list, people I still owe a call, the names of those who made me braver, the promises I can still keep before the bell. Regret is a room with no windows. Responsibility is the key. If I can't repair the past, I can at least repair a hinge. If I can't apologize to the dead, I can be gentler to the living who look like them around the eyes. The night before I retired, I walked the deck alone. The horizon was a single thin line, the color of nickel. I put my palm on the rail and said goodbye to no one in particular. And then I said an odd thing I had never thought before. Thank you for letting me be small. I meant the ship. I meant the sea. I meant the work, the brothers, the years. Being small had saved me from my own ambition. It had returned me to the scale where kindness counts. People mishear the word humility and think it means hating yourself. It doesn't. It means loving the world enough to take up only the space that is yours. It means stepping aside so someone else can see the sunrise. It means knowing you are a note, not the song, and playing your note so true that the song is better for it. Sometimes, when the insomnia comes, and it comes more than it used to, I get up and sit at the kitchen table and listen to the refrigerator hum like a ship too tired to complain. I write letters to people who will never read them. To the boy I was, who thought manhood was a medal ceremony. To the friend I lost in a storm we tried not to name. To the woman who loved me longer than I deserved and taught me that forgiveness is not forgetting. It's setting down the heavy bucket and walking home lighter. I don't keep those letters. I write them to move the weight from my chest to the page. And when the ink dries, I fold the paper once, twice, and feed it to the quiet. There is a cemetery on the far side of town where the veteran stones line up like a small, proud orchestra. I go there on bright days, because I don't like to teach my grief it only belongs to rain. I walk and read the names, and sometimes I salute, and sometimes I just put my hand on the granite and say, "We remember you poorly," which is to say we remember you the way humans remember anything. In flashes, in fragments, in the exact wrong moments. But we remember you enough to keep trying to be gentle with the living. If anyone is there, they pretend not to hear me. Pretending is another form of mercy. So, what does it mean to live? It means to let yourself be changed by what you love. It means to clean up after the party without keeping score. It means to stand in the doorway at dawn and feel the cool air choose your skin, and take that as a blessing you didn't earn. It means to stop inventing futures so vivid they keep you from touching the present. It means to forgive your parents when you realize they were building a house without a blueprint, and you were the roof that kept blowing off. It means to forgive yourself for the rooms you left dark too long. If I could speak to the young man who asked me about meaning on that quiet Pacific night, I would tell him this, plain. Find a tree and visit it through the seasons. Carry cash for small emergencies and small kindnesses. Thank your teachers, even if they were clumsy. If you must be right about love. And when the world breaks your heart, as it will, let it break you open, not shut. One last thing. When the storm hits, and one always does, remember your drills. Breathe. Check the hatches of your mind. Call the soul you trust. Light one lamp, even a tiny one, and set it in the window. Someone out there is looking for a sign that it's safe to come home. Be that sign. I have carried many flags. I carry fewer now. But I carry this. The belief that gentleness is not the opposite of strength. It is its final, ripened form. It takes muscle to lift a rifle. It takes a lifetime to lower it and open your hands. Sooner, later, the oak will fall. The church will be a photograph in a book that goes out of print. My name will thin and fade like chalk after rain. I am not afraid. Because today the kettle sings. Because the neighbor's boy laughs and drops his bicycle and runs toward a voice that loves him. Because the mailman waves. Because the river keeps telling the same silver story, and we keep hearing it as if for the first time. What it means to live is not to win. It is to attend. To attend to the morning, to one another, to the fragile, ordinary miracles that ask for nothing but our noticing. If history remembers us at all, it will be for reasons we will never know. So be faithful in the rooms you've been given. Keep the lamp trimmed. Lay the table. Tell the truth, even if your voice is small. And when the night is kind and the stars come out like old friends, step onto the porch and let the cool find your face. Say thank you, to no one in particular and to everything at once. Then go back inside. There is water to boil, bread to slice, a quiet to share. There is a life to be lived, not later, not grandly, but here, and gently, and now.